said, look, we want to build with y'all. They're like, no, y'all don't have a matter in this. Y'all ain't got nothing to do with this, so scram. So the other people started trying to get at the children of Israel. The children of Israel had to spin one hand, the brick, and laying the brick in the other. And Darius to me had to tell the people, other people, look, y'all better leave these people alone. I'm the one said that they go rebuild this temple at the mouth of the Lord. And I'm making a decree that they gonna do this.
It's written.
Skip down to verse, let's get to Darius though. Skip down to verse 4. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 4.
Then the people of the land weakened the hands of the people of Judah and troubled them in building.
Go ahead.
And hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia, even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
Even to the reign of Darius, king of Persia. Darius was a Median, which was a Gentile. But he took over the Persian kingdom. Now, Persia was ruling the world at this time, the known world. Darius came right in and took it over. So who the world ruler now? Darius, the Mede. Go ahead and finish that.
Verse 6.
We got a problem up here.
Verse 6.
Go ahead, yeah.
And in the reign of Ahasuerus, in the beginning of his reign, wrote they
I'm
unto
sorry,
him.
no. Read that verse 5 again.
Yes, sir. And hired counselors against them to frustrate their purpose all the days of Cyrus, king of Persia. Even until the reign of Darius, king of Persia.
Now we got Darius on the scene. Now we're going to show you a picture of Cyrus real quick. Cyrus the Great. Get a good look at him, then we're going to show you the video. Man, we got to move. Okay. All right. So now this is a picture of Cyrus the Great. That is a Gentile or a white man. That's who that is. Now we're going to show you a video of Cyrus and how he took over, and then who took over after them. So now we're going to show you this video.
Who have affected the world. Cyrus the Great is one of the few who deserves that epithet. The one who deserves to be called the Great. The empire over which Cyrus ruled was the largest the ancient world had ever seen, and may be to this day the largest empire ever.
By 554 BC, Cyrus had crushed all rivals and became the undisputed leader of Persia. Now it was time to conquer the world. And if he was going to build an empire, he would need a magnificent capital city to reflect its growing stature. In 550 BC, Cyrus launched one of the most ambitious engineering projects anywhere in the ancient world. The Persian Empire's first great capital city at Pasargad, located in modern Iran.
Cyrus was a very innovative builder, and I might add that his standards were particularly high. We can also say that his building project reflected in some ways the technologies that he found in the course of his various conquests.
Like the Romans centuries later, the Persians were borrowers. They took the best and most advanced ideas from the cultures they conquered, then developed them even further into technologies uniquely their own. The art and engineering of Pasargad drew on influences as far-flung as Assyria, Egypt, and Asia Minor, thousands of miles away.
There were stone workers, woodworkers, brick makers, relief makers, and we know that these were people often imported from all over the empire.
Today, over 2,500 years later, crumbling ruins are the only remnants of what was once here. Persia's first shining capital city, Parsagod's showpiece was its two magnificent palaces, surrounded by a majestic park and vast formal gardens. Among them, the first known appearance of the astonishing Paradisia, the four-quartered walled Persian gardens. The gardens had over 1,000 yards of channels of carved limestone, designed such that water would enter small basins every 16 yards. The Paradisia of Parsagod laid the foundations for many of the world's most magnificent gardens for the next 2 millennia.
What's particularly different with the Paradisia is the application of the geometric design. So we have squares, rectangular designs, floral designs, cypress trees, wild grasses, roses, lilies, all kinds of vegetations. And this is the concept of the modern park as we know it.
At first, there were no human rights. If you were in with the right crowd, you were safe. If you weren't, well, you weren't. But then a guy named Cyrus the Great decided to change all that. After conquering Babylon, he did something completely revolutionary. He announced that all slaves were free to go. He also said people had the freedom to choose their religion, no matter what crowd they were a part of. They documented his words on a clay tablet known as the Cyrus Cylinder. And just like that, human rights were born.
As Pasargad was being built, Cyrus added to his dominion one enemy kingdom after another. But Cyrus was a very different kind of king. He refused to enslave his new subjects, a revolutionary concept in the ancient world.
He recognized the local validity, if you will, of different religions and beliefs, and allowed those things to persist.
In 539, Cyrus conquered Babylon, but he did not present himself as a conqueror. He presented himself as a liberator, rescuing these people from their despotic ruler. And then he did a totally unprecedented thing. He freed the Jews. The Jews had been living in Babylon in captivity ever since Nebuchadnezzar destroyed Jerusalem and their temple. And Cyrus freed them. Now, it could be said in hindsight or political history that Cyrus was looking for a buffer state between a hostile Egypt and his own empire. But so what? The point is that no one had ever done anything like this, and hardly anyone has ever done anything like it since. And subsequently, he is the only Gentile in the Bible to be referred to as Mashiach, or Messiah.
Okay. Now, that was Cyrus the Great, which took over after Nebuchadnezzar. That's right, brother, because we got another. So now, Cyrus the Great, what we had first? We had the lion first, then we had the bear, then we had the leopard. Let's go now. Let's go to Daniel, the 8th chapter. Daniel 8. We're almost there. Daniel 8. I'm just showing you how the Lord has said that the Gentile was going to rule, and I'm showing you how he set up this rule. How he set them up. Look at all the countries they took. Hold on 1 minute. Daniel 8th chapter, pick it up at verse 1. Daniel 8:1, go ahead and read it.
In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel. After that which appeared unto me at the first.
Now he said the same thing I saw before, the Lord showing to me again. But this time he gonna word it different. Go ahead and read.
Verse 2. And I saw in a vision, and it came to pass, when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam, and I saw in a vision, and I was by the river of Ulai. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns. And the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other.
Now, he saw 2 horns, but one was higher than the other. That's the Medes and the Persians. Go ahead and read.
And the higher came up last.
And the higher came up last. Go ahead and read.
Verse 4. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him.
Because you see how the Persian kingdom started off with Cyrus, and then Cyrus moved north, west, south, and east. And we had read about Darius. Same thing, going about conquering and taking over countries. Go ahead and read.
Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will.
He did according to his will.
And became great.
Go ahead.
And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth.
Here comes a he-goat.
Yes, sir.
Here comes that goat. Go ahead and read.
And touched not the ground.
And he didn't even touch the ground. This is talking about Alexander the Great right here. Because after the Persian Empire came the Greek Empire, which was headed by Alexander the Great. Go ahead and read.
And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had two horns.
Go ahead.
Which I had seen standing before the river, and ran into him in the fury of his power.
And ran into him in the fury of his power.
And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him.
Go ahead.
And smote the ram, and broke his two horns.
He smoked that ram and broke his two horns. The Medes and the Persian dynasty was over.
Yes, sir.
He broke those two horns. Go ahead and read.
And there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground.
Go ahead.
And stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
Once Alexander the Great got a hold of Darius that last time, that was it.
That's right, brother. Yes, sir.
Stomped him down to the ground.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
Verse 8. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great.
Talking about Alexander the Great. Go ahead and read.
And when he was strong, the great horn was broken.
And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. Now let's see what it's talking about. You finished that?
And for it came up four notable ones toward the four winds of heaven.
Now that's talking about his four generals came up after Alexander died. Alexander died at like around 32 years old. He had conquered the known world. He had conquered Asia, Europe, parts of Africa, and even was called the first Gentile pharaoh in Africa. Let's take a look at him. Now this right here is a picture of Alexander the Great. He don't look like no black man, does he? This not no black man we're looking at. This right here is a Gentile or a Caucasian man. And God set him up. He is that goat that came and smoked that ram with those two horns. All right, let's see the video about it.
Alexander the Great was one of the most successful military commanders of all time. But history has depicted him as more than just a gifted general. Alexander the Great was a new kind of leader. His unique blend of incredible courage and brilliant tactical planning built the biggest empire the world had ever seen.
Alexander led by example. He was amazingly inspiring. He is a man who lays a very, very cunning strategic plan, but if there is a choice between the safe course and the dashing course, we'll choose the really daring course and completely throw the opposition.
On one occasion in Afghanistan, he faced a seemingly insurmountable task to capture an infamous pinnacle called the Sogdian Rock. Declaring that he had men who could fly, 300 soldiers scaled sheer cliffs to take the defenders completely by surprise. By morning, the rock was his, And so was the beautiful Sogdian princess, his future wife, Roxanne. When the battle was over, Alexander was also a unique ruler. A man with the charisma to convert the different nations he conquered to a single cause.
He was a brilliant public relations person. To have the vision to bring together Greeks, Macedonians, and Persians is remarkable.
Alexander's reputation was forged during his lifetime, and he ensured that it would never be forgotten. But this heroic image is not the whole picture. Alexander's empire-building legacy hides a darker side.
He was a Napoleon. He was a Genghis Khan. He was a terrifying conqueror who, among his other achievements, quite possibly killed more human beings in warfare than anyone else in the history of the world had done up to that date.
This sinister aspect of Alexander is often overlooked, but on it hinges the secrets of his incredible life and the puzzle of his mysterious death. The seeds of Alexander's brutal power were sown in his homeland of Macedonia. Ancient Macedonia was notorious for the fierce infighting that plagued its warrior elite.
The Macedonian nobility is notable for its cruelty. This is a world in which feud, blood feud, murder, violence, these are all the order of the day. And this is what Alexander grows up with, thinking to be normal.
A living reminder of the brutal society Alexander came from can still be seen today. The glittering tomb of his father Philip, who was assassinated in front of Alexander's own eyes. Alexander became king of Macedonia at the age of only 20. Macedonia was too small to satisfy Alexander's raging ambition. His sights were set on a greater prize, the Persian Empire. Alexander defeated the Persian armies in battle after battle, and swept down into Egypt. It was here, with the scent of success still fresh in his mind, that Alexander had a revelation which transformed him.
When Alexander came into Egypt and was met by the people, they hailed him as a kind of saviour, which indeed he was, because he liberated Egypt from the Persian yoke. They offered him the crown of Pharaoh.
In the Temple of Luxor, carvings still show Alexander as the first European pharaoh. But this wasn't enough for him. Alexander traveled to consult an oracle at the desert oasis of Siwa, and then proclaimed that he was the son of the Greek god, Zeus.
You can almost feel the change in him. It sort of confirmed everything his mother had always told him, that he was special, he was different, he was divine. And he then went on to conquer the rest of the known world.
Naming cities after himself wherever he went, Alexander built an empire on the cult of his own personality. But Alexander's personality hid a destructive weakness.
All right. So we don't want to keep on going with Alexander the Great because we got to move on. But see how many countries that he had conquered. And, you know, it went from Nebuchadnezzar to the Medes and the Persians to Alexander the Great, which had conquered more countries than anybody. But then someone came after Alexander the Great. That great and terrible beast came after Alexander the Great. Let's go back to Daniel the 8th chapter. Back to Daniel the 8th chapter, and we're going to pick it up at verse 15. Daniel 8 and 15. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
And it came to pass, when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Uli, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed the end shall be.
Go ahead.
The ram which thou sawest, having 2 horns, are the kings of Media and Persia.
See, so the ram that they saw that had the 2 horns were who? Media and Persia. Go ahead and read.
Verse 21. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia.
And the rough goat was the king of Grecia. And we could have showed you, because it said that he hit the ground, he came with collar, and that goat, and his horn was broken. What do you mean his horn was broken? Alexander the Great died at a young age. He had conquered most of the known world. But then he was around 32 years old, 33 years old. He went back, had gotten sick, went back to Babylon and died of a disease. No man came and took the power from him. He died. And like, see, when he first became king, he was only 20 years old. And he lived up until the time he was 32, 33 years old, and then he died. That horn was broken. But now, so that goat was the Greeks. Go ahead and finish that.
Yes, sir. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
Now, so remember we read about that 4th and terrible beast? Let's read about him now, because after Alexander's kingdom, after Alexander died, here come the Romans to take over.
This is the last 2 million years. We're at page 105.
Yep.
It says, this shadow of Rome, the great struggle between Rome and Carthage, which dominated the West Mediterranean during much of the Hellenistic age.
See, Carthage, that's the Greeks, but it was being dominated by the Gentiles. You know, they went over to Asia, parts of Asia, and took over. We already know they came to America and took over. See, they call Alexander the Great the first Gentile pharaoh. Went over there and took over parts of Africa. Nobody else has done this. The Lord, when he gave the power to the Gentiles, he gave the power to the Gentiles. And they got it up until today. Keep reading.
Yes, sir. It says the great struggle between Rome and Carthage, which dominated the West Mediterranean during much of the Hellenistic age, came to an end in 146 BC.
Now that's when the Romans came to their end. Go ahead and read.
With a total victory for the Romans. With the destruction of Carthage, Rome was free to turn her attention to the eastern Mediterranean.
I'm sorry, well, that's when the Greeks' reign came to the end, around 146 BC. Then the Romans took over. Because this right here is that great and terrible beast. Does everybody understand? See, the Lord didn't liken him into a bear or a leopard or a goat. He likened this, he just said a great and terrible beast. Because this beast right here, not only did he get you physically, but he took you over so-called spiritually.
Yes,
get your mind.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. In like 146 BC, with the total victory for the Romans, with the destruction of Carthage.
Carthage, that's the Greeks. Go ahead.
Rome was free to turn her attention to the eastern Mediterranean.
Uh-oh, now he's going to move further. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says mainland Greece soon became a Roman protectorate. And during the 1st century BC, Rome gradually absorbed Asia Minor, Syria, Judea, and nearly all the remnants of Alexander's Eastern Empire.
Now, so he done took over Alexander's empire, But look, all of them are Gentiles, what we call white people. Even had read some instances about him, did a little research about the Romans. They done took over 3 continents. 3 continents. Europe, Africa, and Asia. Parts of Asia. 22,000 miles that they took over. 60 million people that they ruled over. 60 million, that's a lot of people during that time. For one nation of people to be ruling over. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? Amen. God gave the Gentile this power and he got it. So don't get mad. Start following after the Lord. You finished that?
Amen. Culturally, however, it was the Romans who were absorbed, as the poet Horace wrote, captive Greece made captive her rude conqueror.
All right, now we're going to move on because we got a few more to go. So who ruled first? The Babylonians. Who ruled second? The Medes and the Persians. Who ruled third? The Greeks. And who ruled fourth? The Romans. And the Romans still got men's minds today. Let's go now. Let's go to, because we got just a few more. Ecclesiastes 9. Ecclesiastes 9, but we're going to sum this up with these scriptures here. Ecclesiastes 9. And we're going to pick it up at verse 13. Ecclesiastes 9 and 13. Go ahead and read it.
Ecclesiastes 9:13. This wisdom have I seen also under the sun, and it seemed great unto me. There was a little city and few men within it. And there came a great king against it.
And there came a great king against this little city. Go ahead and read.
And besieged it. And built great bulwarks against it.
Go ahead. Now I'm going to show you how God's wisdom is. Go ahead and read.
Now there was found in it a poor wise man.
There was found in it a poor wise man. He got God wisdom. Go ahead and read.
And he by his wisdom delivered the city.
Now he by his wisdom delivered the city. By his wisdom. Go ahead and read.
Yet no man remembered that same poor man. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength.
It's just like, you know, when men invent something. Right? Be black, Semitic, whatever. They invent something. Then here come the Gentile and take it away from them and then prosper off of it. You don't remember that black man that invented that thing unless some black history come along and they start telling you about it. You see the white man, he the one who prospered off of it. You know, just like doing the music industry. Who profited? Edom and the white man profited off it. The black man profited, yeah. But at one while he wasn't profiting nothing. It was Edom and the Gentile profited. Because why? That's what God made it. Who you think the world's standing on edge waiting on now? See what they're going to do. Is it the African brother? Is it the Semitic brother? The Edomites? Is it the so-called Jews? Nope. The Arabs? Nope. Who is it? It is the Gentile. Russia, United States, and like I said, the jury kind of out on them Koreans and them Chinese, but I think that they are Caucasians. But look at who the world is waiting to see what they're going to do, though. And who's really the biggest and the baddest? Russia and the United States, the Gentiles. Because without China, without Russia, please go over there and whoop them with a broom handle. Korea, you just take a back just if it wasn't for these other big countries like Russia bagging them. Russia got so much power now telling the United States, look, just chill, let me talk to them for a minute. What the other Gentiles say? Okay. World War II. Who do you have in World War II? Britain, Russia, Germany, and United States, all Gentiles. Who could touch them? They were the former legions, and under the United States say everybody be speaking English. Because who could touch them? Gentiles, though. The white man. Go ahead and read, brother.
16. Then said I, wisdom is better than strength. Nevertheless, the poor man's wisdom is despised.
See there? He said, wisdom is better than strength, but the poor man, wisdom is despised. The wisdom that we tell people or give people is despised. Finish that.
And his words are not heard. 17. The words of the wise men are heard in quiet more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools.
Go ahead.
Wisdom
that is really something. You see, then the words of the wise men are heard in quiet more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools. The one that's the big mouth, the loud mouth, the fool, his words are heard more than the wise man. Don't you feel like that sometimes? Read verse 18.
18. Wisdom is better than weapons of war.
Wisdom is better than weapons of war. Go ahead.
But one sinner destroyeth much good.
Now he said wisdom is better than a weapon. So what wisdom though? God's wisdom. God's wisdom. Let's go to Proverbs 4. We got 3 more after that. I'm sorry. I should have told y'all that. Proverbs, the 4th chapter, Proverbs 4. Because by me showing this right here, maybe you'll start listening to a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. And you start understanding the will of God and how you're supposed to worship Him and what you're supposed to do. Proverbs 4 and 5, Proverbs 4 and 5, go ahead.
Proverbs 4, verse 5. Get wisdom, get understanding. Forget it not. Neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, and she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee.
We're talking about God's wisdom right here. Verse 7, go ahead.
Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding.
Get understanding. Let's go to Daniel, the 2nd chapter, Daniel 2. And we're going to pick it up at verse 44. Daniel 2 and 44. When you get it, start reading. Daniel 2 and 44. Go ahead.
And in the days of these kings shall the God of the heavens set up a kingdom.
See, with those kings we just read about, he said in the days of those kings, which they persist even today, because this world is still ruled by the Gentiles. The God of heaven is going to set up a kingdom, because the kingdom of heaven, you see a kingdom, God's kingdom here yet? The Lord will be here when when this kingdom is set up. Go ahead and read.
Yes, sir. It says, in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
He's going to break in pieces all these kingdoms. Gentile ruler now, but his kingdom is going to be broken up. It's going to be broken into pieces. Sham's kingdoms. He might be ruling in his world, but those kingdoms going to be broken up too. Ham, he ruling in his countries, but those kingdoms going to be broken up too. Skip down to verse 46. Go ahead.
Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. The king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods, and a Lord of kings.
Go ahead.
And revealer of secrets, seeing thou could have revealed this secret.
Don't you know, like Nebuchadnezzar fell down and worshiped Daniel, that this man from all nations, 10 men out of every nation, going to fall down and say, take me with you, for the Lord is with you. They're going to worship you. Israel, that's the ones that believe. Let's go to Daniel the 7th chapter. We got one more, Daniel 7. Just like Nebuchadnezzar fell down and worship, they're going to worship you too. Daniel 7 and 13. Because those who held you captive shall be your captives. Daniel 7 and 13. Go ahead and read it.
Daniel 7 verse 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days. And they brought him near before him.
Go ahead.
And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom.
Now who is this Ancient of Days? That is the Father. And who is this who was like the Son of Man? That is Jesus.
Yes, sir.
And there was given him dominion.
dominion and glory and a kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him.
Didn't he tell you he's going to break all the kingdoms into pieces? He's going to break all the kingdoms pieces, and then the Lord is going to rule the nations. Go ahead and read.
His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away.
Go ahead.
And his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
Skip down to verse 27 and read.
27. In the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven.
Where's under the whole heaven at? That's when the Lord going to be ruling. You see the Lord ruling right now? Brother called me yesterday, want to still try to talk about the end time that done happened already. Still trying to say that. I'm like, where's the Lord at? Where is the Lord? Because he's going to be ruling. He said the kingdom, the dominion, the greatest of the kingdom,
under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High.
The people of the saints of the Most High not ruling now? Go ahead and read.
Whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. Hereunto is the end of the matter.
Hitherto is the end of the matter. The Gentile reign is going to be over with, and that's going to be it. The Lord is going to reign over everybody. Let's go to Jeremiah 10. This is going to be last. Jeremiah 10, and this is going to be last. Verse 7. Jeremiah 10 and 7. This is going to be last. Sorry I kept y'all so long. Go ahead and read.
Who would not fear thee, O King of nations?
Who is the King of nations? That's the Lord. Who will not fear thee, O King of nations? Go ahead.
For to thee doth it appear.
Appertain.
For as much as among all the wise men of the nation.
For as much as all the wise men of the nations,
and in all their kingdoms. There is none like unto thee.
There is none like unto him. Amen. None. So I hope everybody got some understanding from this lesson. Thank you. Now we're going to have a reading of the announcement.
Right. Grace and peace to our brothers and sisters here at the Israel's Church of the Living God. If this is your first visit, we hope you come back and worship with us again next Sabbath. There is no eating or drinking in the sanctuary with the exception of water. Brothers and sisters, please adhere to the dress code of Israel's Church of the Living God. Brothers, please remove any head covering upon entering the building. Do not wear sleeveless shirts, fleece jogging pants, shorts, tight-fitting pants, or any other revealing attire. Sisters, you must have a head covering. This is required, hat, scarf, etc. Do not wear shorts, skirts, midriffs, or see-through blouses, mini dresses, mini skirts, halter tops of any kind, revealing splits, tight-fitting, or cleavage revealing attire, modest apparel only. We have Bibles and scarves available for visitors. If you use a Bible or scarf that belongs to Israel's Church of the Living God, please return it prior to leaving. If you live in the Lake County, Illinois area, please watch a television program, The Word for Life. That's every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., Comcast Channel 17. You can visit our Facebook page, Israel's Church of the Living God, to post questions or comments. All questions will be answered according to the Bible. You can click the Facebook like button to see our daily posts, and also click the follow button to receive class information. Church activities and updates are in the news feed. In an effort to expand the church ministry, we have started a building fund. You can make your secure payments online using our PayPal account at www.israelschurchoftlg.org. Or you can send your donation to the attention of ICO TLG at P.O. Box 8933, Waukegan, Illinois 60079. We thank you for your past contributions and hope for your continued support. Free will donations are welcome and appreciated. Finally, brothers and sisters, please continue to pray for one another. This is this weekly Sabbath day announcement.
If you'd like to contact us here at Israel's Church of the Living God, you can give us a call at 847-636-4792. That's 847-636-4792. We also would like for you to follow us on our website. That's israelschurchoftlg.org. israelschurchoftlg.org, where you can go and look at, follow us on Facebook, and you can also look at some of our previous videos on YouTube. And for those that's watching our videos, we would like for you to subscribe to our channel. We have also set up a GoFundMe account. We would like for those that are willing-hearted to donate for our building fund.